Our story begins with the Adebayo family, known not just for their warm hospitality or the delicious scent of roasted corn that always drifted from their homes, but for one very peculiar tradition. For generations, no child in their family was ever named after the grandfather. Now, this wasn't out of disrespect. Oh no, it was born from something far deeper, something whispered only in hushed tones, under the cover of night, when the elders gathered beneath the old mango tree. A long, long time ago, something happened that made that name forbidden. But then came Omotola. She was modern, educated, confident, and frankly, a bit skeptical of old superstitions. Her husband Kunli was more traditional, but Omotola often brushed his worries aside, saying, "All these taboos are just fear wearing an agbada." So, when her beautiful baby boy arrived, healthy and strong, Omotola made a bold decision. She named him Babatunde, after Kunli's late father. The naming ceremony was glorious. Talking drums sang, women danced with joy. Even the oldest elder offered a gentle smile. But in a quiet corner, Kunli's mother, Mama Morlake, sat, her wrapper clutched tight, her eyes wide with a worry that spoke volumes. When the priest announced the name Babatunde, her hand trembled so violently that she dropped her kola nut. "Why are you shaking?" someone asked. Mama Morlat could only whisper, her voice barely audible over the celebratory noise. "He has called himself back." At first, everything seemed perfect. Baby Babatunde grew incredibly fast, a true prodigy. He laughed loudly, and shocker, he started talking way too early. By his first birthday, he was already forming proper sentences. Then came the first sign that Mama Morlake's fears weren't just old-fashioned worries. One morning, as Kunli was getting ready for work, little Babatunde toddled in, stood by the door, and in a clear, surprisingly deep voice said, "Kunle, where's my walking stick?" Kunli froze. That was the exact phrase his late father, Chief Adebayo, used every single morning before he left the house. He tried to brush it off as childish mimicry, a clever, parrot-like imitation. But strange things kept happening. The boy refused to be called Baba, insisting, "My name is Chief Adebayo." He'd sit on his tiny stool and demand visitors greet him properly. When guests arrived, he'd raise a minuscule hand and declare, "Ekule O," in the same thick, commanding voice of his departed grandfather. Omotola, bless her heart, laughed it off initially. "He's just smart and playful," she'd say, beaming with pride. But then came an evening that started to chip away at her confidence. As she was tidying the sitting room, little Babatunde looked at her, his eyes holding an unusual intensity for a toddler, and said, "Omotola, don't you ever place that photo there again? It doesn't belong on that wall." The photo he was talking about? An old portrait of Chief Adebayo. The real one. No one had ever told the boy where the chief liked to hang his picture, but he spoke with such authority, such conviction, that Omotola, unnerved, quietly moved it. From that day, things began to shift. The boy started walking with a slight limp, dragging one leg just a little, the exact same limp Chief Adebayo had after a hunting accident years ago. Sometimes at night, they'd hear him talking to himself in the old man's room, using phrases that sounded ancient, out of another time entirely. Then came the night that shattered Omotola's courage completely. The rain lashed down, thunder cracked across the sky, and Omotola rushed into Babatunde's room to close the windows. But the bed was empty. Panic seized her as she screamed his name, her voice trembling. Then she saw a faint glow from the veranda. There he was, a tiny figure sitting in the old, creaky wooden chair that had belonged to Chief Adebayo, the very chair everyone had avoided since his death. "Babatunde, what are you doing here?" she whispered, her voice barely a breath. He turned slowly, his eyes steady, unblinking, and his voice, deeper than any 2-year-old's should be, resonated through the stormy night. "I told them not to bury me in that spot by the iroko tree. The spirits there are restless." Omotola's legs gave out beneath her. She scooped him up, her heart pounding like talking drums, and carried him inside. The very next morning, Omotola called Mama Moralake. The old woman arrived with 3 other elders and a powerful herbalist. When they saw the boy, a heavy silence fell upon them. The herbalist finally broke the quiet, his voice grave. "This is why we never name a child after the grandfather. The soul still remembers the body." They decided a cleansing ritual was the only way. That night, under the watchful eyes of the moon, they gathered in the backyard. Palm oil, white chalk, a rooster. Everything was ready. The boy sat quietly, observing them with an unnerving composure, like someone attending his own meeting. The herbalist began to chant, invoking ancestors, praying for the restless spirit to find peace. As he poured the libation, a chilling sound erupted from Baba Tunde, a deep, booming laugh that made even the nightbirds fall silent. "Do you think you can send me away from my own blood?" The voice boomed through the little boy's mouth. "I built this house. I named this family. I will not go." The fire in the brazier flickered violently. The rooster squawked and escaped, scattering feathers everywhere. The wind howled, and for a moment even the herbalist stepped back, startled. But Mama Morlake, trembling but resolute, walked forward. "Baba, rest. You have lived your life. Let this child live his." The boy's tiny body stiffened. Then his head dropped forward, and he began to cry, a real child's cry, full of innocent tears. The fire calmed. The wind stopped. From that night on, Babatunde no longer spoke like the old man. The limp disappeared, and he became a normal, playful boy once more. But Omotola swears that every year on his birthday at exactly midnight, she hears the distinct creak of that same wooden chair on the veranda, rocking gently, as if someone unseen is still sitting there, humming an ancient Yoruba praise song. And though she never admits it out loud, she never calls her son by his full name anymore. She just says Tunde, because in that house, everyone knows that some names, once called, can never truly rest. Wow, what a story! This one really makes you think about the power of names and the weight of tradition. What do you believe? Could a spirit truly return like that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this spine-tingling tale, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more incredible stories, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.